turret and 85mm gun. The original version had a 2-man turret and a 76mm gun, but with the 85mm got 3 men in the turret. The characteristic of the tank is the slow farm, both on the front and the sides, which the Russians always claimed to be effective. Been around a while before that. The tank has a version of twisting suspension, meaning that each row wheel's independently sprung with coil springs, with large flat plate tracks to deal with the snow. It's powered by a V12 diesel engine in the back and proved to be quite reliable. It was built in huge numbers because, as David said earlier, the Russians regarded tanks as expendable and available in huge numbers for that reason. It is actually, if you get up close, pretty crudely made as well. But that never worried the Russians. They weren't trying to win prizes for beauty. They wanted loads of fighting machines. That was the best way of doing it.
One of the things that's often pointed out is that crudity of Russian vehicles, but famously when a T-34 was captured outside Moscow, taken to Berlin, and Albert Speer, the German armaments minister, got all the German tank designers to look closely at the T-34. Initially they were hugely scathing because it seemed so crudely engineered, but there was a time when the Russians actually drew up plans to, or the Germans actually drew up plans to copy the T-34 because they realised it had such good qualities, such as the sloped armour, good wide tracks, ideal on the Russian front where you've got mud, snow, very few metal roads. But in the end, being the Germans, they thought they could go one better, and they end up building the Panther tank as really a response. Don't forget, often a myth, it wasn't the T-34 that led to the Tiger being built. That amazingly was that because the Tiger bumped into, or sorry, not the Tiger, but the Germans bumped into the British Matilda tanks in France in 1940 with that thick armour we just saw in the early Matilda. That caused Hitler to initiate the Tiger programme, not actually this whopping great Russian tank, the T-34. Germans were very unaware of the extent and the numbers of Russian tank development before they invaded in 1941. And so the T-34 was a bit of a shock for them, even though, of course, the Germans and the Russians had actually cooperated in tank design earlier because they were both pariah countries in Europe after the First World War. Germany in the Weimar period, Russia after the Revolution, no one in the West wanted to talk to them. So they actually got together and did tank development together and training at a place called Kazan in Russia. But they fell out again when Hitler came to power, and of course this tank became an enormous shock to them when they invaded in the summer of 1941. This particular one, marked up in Polish colours, as you can see, still drives. That very distinctive noise as it's driving, that's actually a plate on the hull that knocks the pins that are holding the tracks together back into place every time they come around. So it gives it a very distinctive tap, tap, tap noise as it drives along.